You know birds have feathers. They lay eggs, they fly, well, most of them anyway. But if your knowledge is a bit vague, a bit patchy, you're not alone. Today we're going to fix that, not only filling in the gaps, but upgrading your knowledge. We will be looking at everything you need to know and more, so that you come out wiser than most. Now very quickly, birds have feathers, beaks rather than teeth, and the ability to lay eggs. And although feathers are unique to birds, egg-laying occurs in fish, reptiles, and surprisingly, some mammals, while beaks are shared with fish and reptiles, not counting monotremes in mammals. Now, birds are classified or grouped together in different ways, and the one scientists use the most is the taxonomic system, which is used to classify all living organisms, from animals to bacteria. Birds sit in the class Aves, which is just Latin for, you guessed it, birds, and from there they're sorted into orders, large divisions of bird like all perching birds. Families, smaller sets of close relatives, for example, the crow family, Corvidae, and genera, groups of species that are very closely related and often look or behave similarly. And finally, individual species. Taxonomy is like a postal address: country, state, city, street, house. In biology, that's class, order, family, genus, species. That's how scientists sort and name every living thing. Or you can group them together in more simple ways, by habitat, including aquatic and terrestrial birds, physical traits like raptors and flightless birds, as well as behavior and lifestyle, such as social and solitary birds. Now, let's look at key behaviors and adaptations. Eggs and incubation. Birds will lay what is called a clutch of eggs, which just means a group or collection of eggs laid in a single nesting cycle, and they are laid one at a time, and normally with a day's gap in between each egg. And the eggshells are made out of calcium carbonate, allowing airflow so the baby can breathe whilst remaining sturdy and secure. In regards to incubation, birds have a patch of featherless bare skin on their belly or chest, called a brood patch, to transfer heat directly to the eggs to provide them with a steady warm temperature to grow, while carefully turning the egg over frequently, till the heat spreads out evenly. When the chick is ready to hatch, it uses a little but sharp bump on its beak called an egg tooth to break the shell, and the process is called pipping, which can take multiple hours or even a full day. And when talking about nests, it's a given that different kinds of birds build different kinds, including cavity nests in tree holes, hanging and ground, or just none at all, such as in the case of emperor penguins, who instead incubate eggs on their feet under a brood pouch. Migration. Migration is when some birds, migrate, normally with the change of seasons, to find food and a warmer or safer environment to reproduce. A famous example is starlings, who in Europe, for example, will move south for the winter in large groups, which can have hundreds of thousands of starlings, and their long journey can span up to over 1,000 miles, during which they use the sun, the stars, and the Earth's magnetic field to navigate their way, as well as remembering landmarks. Starlings will sometimes create incredible displays called murmurations at dusk, designed to keep safe, share information, and get the group together before deciding a safe space to sleep for the night. Communication. Birdsong are primarily used to attract mates and to defend territory, with the quality of song often signalling fitness, strength, and territorial power. Shorter, more simple sounds are used for keeping contact within a flock group, especially during either flight for foraging and for warning others of potential dangers. Some species like crows issue a mobbing call, which is repetitive and loud, designed to drive the threat away. And interestingly, while alarm calls will be given to warn of danger, a sudden silence may indicate that a predator is very close or watching, a warning not only to birds, but potentially to humans and other animals as well that there is danger. Birds don't have vocal cords like us, but rather have a syrinx, which is a vocal organ exclusive to birds. Birds can control each side of the organ separately, which allows them to create complex sounds and noises and sing two notes at once. And of course, there is variety, with songbirds, for example, having very complex syrinx, while ducks have simple ones. Meanwhile, storks and vultures have very reduced syrinx, and can barely make anything more than a hiss or a grunt. Now we'll look at the major bird groups, combining different ways of classification like habitat, physical features, and lifestyle. Part of the waterfowl family, as well as swans and geese, there's the duck group. What we know as normal classic ducks are called mallards, where the males have green heads and the females are brown. They are aquatic and mainly eat aquatic plants as well as some insects and fish, which is, by the way, why you shouldn't feed bread to the ducks, as it's not even close to what their natural diet looks like. It's only the female mallards that make the big loud quack sound, and mallards are the ancestors of most domestic duck. Another famous duck is the Peking duck, famous for their tender meat and use in Chinese cuisine, which is where they originated from. They also can't fly well as they are heavy-bodied, and they are chilled out in their manner. Bigger than ducks are geese, who are more protective and aggressive than ducks and migrate in V-shaped formations. They interestingly choose one partner to stay with for years and sometimes life. Even bigger than geese are swans who have really long necks. And while not overall as aggressive as geese, they can get territorial and make hissing noises. They are elegant and generally stay with their partners for life, but in a bit more loyal and committed way than geese. Now the raptors, birds of prey. Eagles are prolific hunters with great vision, being able to spot prey from up to 2 miles. They are also what is called apex predators, which just refers to predators at the top of the food chain with few, if any, enemies. The most famous is probably the great bald eagle, who can be found in North America near big bodies of water, and their diet mainly consists of fish. Hawks, falcons, and owls are the other members of the raptors. Hawks are generally smaller and more agile than eagles, primarily eating small birds and rodents, while eagles eat things like fish, deer, and snakes. Falcons are even smaller than hawks, yet are incredibly fast. Peregrine falcons are the fastest animals in the world, with diving speeds of well over 200 miles per hour. Owls, on the other hand, are more adapted to stealth over speed, with their feathers adapted to reduce noise, making their flight pretty much silent. They also have impeccable hearing and the ability to rotate their head 270 degrees. Notable species include barn owls, who can be found in many parts of the world, and snowy owls, who, unlike most owls, are diurnal, meaning they hunt during the day. The next bird group is the songbirds, who are known for their sweeter, singing nature and eat things like insects, fruit, and seeds. Young songbirds practice sub-songs, soft exploratory practice notes, as they learn to master their full potential. Notably, hummingbirds are not songbirds. They eat nectar and are the smallest birds, having both a very fast heart rate and flapping wings. The highly intelligent Corvidae family, however, does belong to this group, including different species of crow, who are known for their problem-solving abilities, and magpies, who are largely inaccurately known for collecting shiny objects and are naturally curious birds. These members of the Corvidae, along with most of the others, such as jays, jackdaws, and magpies, are known to raid other birds' nests for eggs, as well as chicks. The jays, followed by magpies, are the most likely to do this. Shorebirds and waders are similar to waterfowl birds in the aquatic nature of their habitats, but shorebirds and waders have long legs and thin bills, wading and walking through the water rather than swimming. Next, the game birds, including the likes of chickens, turkeys, and pheasants, who are commonly farmed around the world due to their meat quality and their ease to be managed, also because they struggle to fly high or long distances. Then there are the flightless birds, including ostriches, who are not only the biggest birds, but lay the biggest eggs of any bird, while also being the fastest running bird due to their powerful legs. Emus native to Australia, known for their long-distance running capabilities, kiwis from New Zealand, who have nostrils at the top of its beak to sniff out food, and of course penguins, who only live in the southern hemisphere, with the exception of the Galapagos penguins who sometimes swim just north of the equator. This actually means that penguins never encounter polar bears in the wild, who only live in the Arctic, part of the northern hemisphere. Examples include the emperor penguins, who are the tallest and heaviest, the adelies, who are smaller but survive through tough Antarctic winters, along with the emperors, and the Galapagos penguins, who live on the Galapagos Islands in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Ecuador, surviving in the humid climate thanks to the cool ocean currents that bring in food and cold water to the islands. And last but not least, parrots. As I mentioned before about the syrinx in birds, parrots unsurprisingly have a very well-developed one, along with incredible control of their tongue and beak, which allows them to mimic human noises and sounds much better than most birds. Some notable species include the macaw, which is the most iconic or default-looking parrot from Central and Southern America, living mainly in rainforests as well as other types of forests. The budgie, who are very popular pets around the world, who are small and come in a wide range of colours. They can also learn dozens and sometimes hundreds of words, and cockatoos, who have a head crest, which they can lower or raise to express how they are feeling, and they are mostly white or pale-coloured. So now you know, birds aren't just feathers and flight. You've filled the gaps, upgraded your understanding, and will hopefully go away more confident than you arrived. If you enjoy leveling up your knowledge like this, consider subscribing, because this is just the beginning.